Hello and welcome to today's weekly market recap, everyone. As each week, we are here to bring you the latest of what has happened over the past week, and we're going to be giving you some information, tips, tricks, and overall, just letting you know what you can expect over the course of the next week. Now, let me introduce you my co-hosts today. To my left-hand side, we have Bruno Perinelli. Bruno, welcome on the show.
Thanks, Oliver. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here.
And to my right hand side, we have Jake Torres from Philippines. Hi, Jake.
Hello, Oliver. Hello, everyone.
All right, and we're gonna give everybody maybe a minute to join in. Slowly, everybody settle in. Grab something tasty, make yourself comfortable. If you can, please let me know in the chat if everything is working properly as it should. So that I know if our stream is as good as it should be. Today we're streaming for the first time in 1440p, so if you can just pop me a message, let me know that that is working as it should. If we have no lag, that would be awesome. Thank you. And it looks like that we slowly have people joined in and are ready. So let's start as every week. Bruno, what were the main events of this week in the European markets? What did you focus on?
Regarding the European markets, I saw some lower than expected retail sales, and the GDP revision growth went also below expectations. So those were the two main events regarding the European markets.
Thank you. Jake, what were we have, or what did we have happening overseas in Asia?
This week we tackled in our channel, in our Discord, and on our daily trading room, the cash rate or the interest rate decision from the RBA, Reserve Bank of Australia, and they hiked by 25 basis point as expected. But if we examine the language from the Central Bank of Australia, it was more dovish or less hawkish versus the prior statement from them. And out of that, we saw a sell-off of AUD during the day across the board, and we posted a trade idea on the Discord that we would like to pair the AUD with the NZD, and it was also a good option currency because on the time AUD was the weakest and NZD is the strongest currency. Now it is already down by 100 plus pips from that event.
Wonderful. I hope that many traders in our Discord were able to catch that. Bruno, looking forward into the next week or even maybe today, we still have the NFP coming. What are the expectations? What are the recommendations that you have for the traders?
All right, today we got the NFP in a couple of hours. The expectations around to 205,000 jobs created in the non-farm sectors, and the main recommendation behind this special event is to stay on the sidelines. There's a lot of uncertainty in the financial markets, especially after what happened in the Silicon Valley Bank. There's some fears of a bank run spreading across the financial markets, which is making investors running after US bonds, and that is affecting the US dollar. So now the NFP could come above expectations, could cause a lot of volatility in the market, and I would suggest you to stay on the sidelines until it gets stable and then get back to trading.
Yeah, that bank run sounds like something that a lot of our traders might be interested in. Could you give me like a very, very quick summary of what's been happening?
What's been happening? Well, there's been some massive deposit withdrawals in the Silicon Valley Bank. So also the Silicon Valley Bank admitted bigger than expected losses, admitted those big losses that caused some fears in their depositors. So that's spreading the fears that the bank may go bankruptcy, and then that is spreading in other banks and making investors just wanting to get some safe haven assets such as the US bonds or even gold. So that's why we're seeing less demand for the US dollar.
So would you say that this could create an interesting opportunity today in gold markets, possibly?
I'm not really sure of that, because if this gets calm, if calm resumes, then the yields may still go up, and the demand for the US dollar may wake up. So I would wait. I mean, it depends on how this unfolds, this event.
Okay, well then, thank you for that quick summary. Jake, let's this week start with Asia. What do we have coming for us in the next week? What are your sessions going to be focused on?
Okay, so this is also an additional, insight with regards to the Silicon Valley Bank. So we can also use this information as part of our analysis next week, because during the of course the issue of the Silicon Valley Bank, we saw a drop of the price of the bank by 60% in just a day. And if we go to the VIX, which is the VIX, one of the barometer that we use to identify if the market is in the risk on or risk off. And we saw that today the VIX is very no it no it went higher by 23%. So basically, we are that is in we that is a sign that we have to prepare for a risk off tone. So when we are going to trade the risk sentiment, we usually I go to the go-to currency are AUD and the JPY. So the risk off usually appreciates the Japanese yen, and the depreciates the AUD. But today it was also the release of the BOJ interest rate decision, which we saw a weakness from Japan because there is no new information, hawkish information. So that is why we saw a weakness from Japanese yen. But this is worth to be keep in our radar next week, because there's also news that the other bank sectors all over the world will be affected by this. No, the word is contagion. They will in the different sector. So probably we'll be watching the AUD JPY. We'll be looking if the issue will, of course, will develop on the negative side. That will be probably a
Yeah.
trading opportunity to sell the AUD JPY.
Thank you, Jake. You speak of, a lot of time in these sort of economic talks, we can hear the words risk off, risk on. But what does that actually mean for the traders? If a trader hears, okay, the next week we're expecting risk on sentiment, what can they actually do in their trades? How does that help them?
Okay, risk sentiment. So a risk off, meaning there is a negative mode in the market environment. Usually, the safe haven asset during the risk off, that is positive for the safe haven asset. So in the currency market, the safe haven currency are the Japanese yen, Swiss franc, and sometimes the USD placed as a safe haven asset. And of course, a risk, and that is also that is negative for the risky asset. So in the FX market, the risky asset or the commodity linked currency are the AUD, the CAD, and the NZD. So if we have a good reason why, say for example, a risk off, and a good reason why it is a risk off. So mainly the currency that we will be focusing are these two currencies, the high beta currency versus the safe haven currency.
Thank you.
So the high beta currency, yes.
And Bruno, just to finish off our market recap, as we're slowly running out of time, we also need to focus on what are we expecting in Europe and America over the course of the next week. Could you give me a quick little recap about what the traders can be expecting and what they should be looking out for?
Okay, for next week, prices will be back in the spotlight in the US and the Eurozone. We got the CPI and PPI on Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively, and 0.4% expected inflation in the US, also the retail sales in the US. And we got the CPI on Friday in the Eurozone and the European Central Bank's rate decision on Thursday. So it's going to be a very interesting week to see the movements, especially on the euro dollar.
Wonderful. Guys, make sure you tune in throughout the week. Bruno and Jake are going to be focusing on those very important events in their daily live streams, and in our Discord, we'll have a bunch of tips and tricks, great ideas during the week. So something exciting ahead of us once again. Those of you who are watching on Monday morning in our newsletter, I wish you a successful week ahead of you. And those of you watching right now, we have Friday lunch, so get something good to eat and slowly get ready for your weekend. Thank you for watching, everyone. And once again, I wish you a great one, and we'll see you next Friday.